Well, the mystery is solved. Here is the woman who Prince Harry didn't name in his book Spare, but said took his virginity by having sex with him in a field behind a pub.
I am the lady that Prince Harry wrote about in his book, who he lost his virginity to. He may have been Prince Harry to everyone else, but to me he was just Harry. We were mates, we hung out together, we shared an interest of horses.
Now that woman, Sasha Walpole, who drives diggers, says she's speaking out because Harry gave enough details to identify her to her friends and she wants to control the story.
I didn't know Harry was a virgin at the time. It was just a quickie in the field and yeah, I had no idea. Harry wrote in his book that I gave him a slap on the bum. I gave him a little squeeze as well. It was a bit of fun. He had a peachy bum. He was young. I've kept this a secret for 21 years. I would never have said anything if he hadn't have put it in his book. And he's brought this to me, and I have to say it in my words, but otherwise it's going to get twisted, and I wanted to get it across how it happened. I don't mind Harry writing that it was inglorious in his book. It wasn't that glorious. We were drunk and having sex in a field. It's never going to be glorious. I'm surprised Harry put it in his book. It was such a long time ago. We were teenagers.
Now, already we've got yet more reason to doubt Harry's stories and his judgment, because in this case he said he lost his virginity to an older woman. In fact, she was a teenager at the time, just 18 years old, working with horses on Harry's father's property. And although, yes, she is 1 year older than Harry, she's still a year younger than his wife, Meghan Markle. She also says that while she holds no grudges at all, Harry was a friend before the sex, even rang her at home, made dates for the pub, never spoke to her again after they got it together. Join me from London, as on every Monday, as commentator and columnist, Esther Kraku. Esther, always great to see you. Now look, this does not do much for Harry's public image, as sleeping with and then leaving a young servant, so to speak, in the stereotypical English upper-class way, and then telling the world about it afterwards.
Yes, I'm sure for people that are preoccupied with the Duke of Sussex's genitals, the revelation of who he actually lost his virginity to is very, very happy news indeed. I do think, again, this is one of the uncomfortable fallouts of his tell-all book. The fact that, I mean, obviously, it's very unsavory to read about your sexual escapades with the Duke of Sussex in his book. However, most people would think that you would want to keep that quiet. But she did mention that he revealed enough details for people that are close enough to him to know who he was referring to, and that it would eventually have boiled over. So she felt the need to control the narrative. Again, it's all very unsavory stuff, and it just goes to show the lack of judgment on the Duke of Sussex's part, thinking that something like this wouldn't come out, that he wouldn't actually be implicating people, no matter how skillfully he tried to keep it under wraps. He clearly shows he's not the brightest man out there. But again, it's just really tawdry and uncomfortable, and it's keeping on this saga that no one really wants to continue, because we're looking ahead, especially Britain, we're looking ahead towards the end later on in the year and the King's coronation, and whether even Sussexes would even attend, because there are rumours that they're still being invited. And then you now have revelations of who Prince Harry first lost his virginity to. So it's very tawdry stuff.
Well, let me go to that very point, Esther, because there is, I think, a wider point to make here. I reckon this should actually end this ridiculous debate about whether Prince Harry should be invited to see his father crowned the next King of the United Kingdom, Westminster Abbey, May 6. Now, King Charles was reported so desperate that Harry comes, asked the Archbishop of Canterbury to work out some sort of deal that would persuade him, even if it makes the King look weak. I'm just wondering, how does it add to the coronation? Have a prince who's dominating the tabloids about a sex romp, acted like a bit of a cad, has no judgment about blabbing about private things.
I mean, it is a bit of a gamble on the palace's part, because they feel like if they invite the Sussexes, they can get ahead of the story, because, you know, one way or another, they will still feature in the King's coronation, whether they're there or not, because they have made sure that whatever happens with the royals, the spotlight is on them as well. So I kind of understand the stance that the King is taking, but the reality is the coronation is still a public affair, still a public event. I think many Britons are getting quite sick of the saga. You know, it's a tradition that we love, and we just like to perpetuate it and have it relevant to modern times. And I don't think we want to carry on this Kardashian style ridiculous affair and carry it on to the coronation, which is exactly what would happen if the Sussexes do attend. So I understand it, but the reality is it is a public affair. It is a public event, and we just want to keep it to the immediate royal family, which is the King and William.
No, but I actually want to underline the point you make there. I think King Charles is getting confused. This is not a family get-together. It's not a family reunion. Much as I know he wants his dear son to be with him, what it is about is showing a sort of a linking of the community, the subjects to the monarch, and it's to cement a bond. You don't want some sideshow Bob next to, in the thing, hogging the limelight and being a personification of disloyalty, treachery, and what have you.
And it's also highly inappropriate because, it is the King's coronation, but it's also, by extension, the Queen's coronation, and Queen Camilla will be crowned Queen. And the revelations that Prince Harry has documented in his book are very not favourable to the future Queen. So, it's not just a matter of extending an olive branch, it's also thinking about your dear wife and whether she needs the kind of negative fallout that comes with the Sussexes being in attendance of the coronation, which would also be her coronation. And I think that's a point that many people have missed. Yes, it is a public event, but there's also someone who's directly implicated, who will be directly affected by Prince Harry and his wife attending, and that's Queen Camilla, who really, I think out of all of this, I feel arguably the most sorry for, because she really didn't deserve any of this.
So true. And we haven't even got on to Prince William, the loyal son, the next heir. And does he really deserve to have his brother, with his shenanigans, taking some of the limelight of a very solemn and important occasion? Esther Crackley, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.